Kia ora te whānau, Markie here, with just a friendly chat really. There's no major topic really, this is just kind of state of the channel video really. State of Markie with a traditional shaky camera. So yeah, so I kind of just wanted to, because I haven't posted very much lately, so I kind of wanted to explain a little bit about that and just talk a bit about what's going on and what I'm up to and stuff really. So I've gone through a period of feeling really exhausted. It sort of hit me particularly towards the end of the time I was working from home in the lockdown, and it lifted quite recently over the last couple of weeks. And I think the reason it lifted is I take some medication for a gastric problem, and doctors don't tell you this, annoyingly, but one of the things I found out recently is that if you take this, and I'm on quite a stonking dose of it, it actually depletes you of magnesium and B12. So I've been taking magnesium sort of fairly kind of regularly, and a fairly good one, but I've been penny pinching on the B12 and buying kind of stuff like, you know, just general cheap B compound type stuff. And for some reason the other day I felt inclined to buy a proper B12 that was it was quite pricey, but I felt almost immediately better from taking that really. And of course B vitamins, B12 is a lot to do with energy, so it looks after the nervous system. It does affect, you know, things like fatigue. So I've been feeling a lot better. So I've been struggling for a while. So I was I for those of you that may not know, I do a day job, as well as all the other bits and pieces that I do around retroactive jealousy and some of the other specialisms I have. So I have a mixture of employed stuff and things that are kind of more of an interest. Although I'm equally passionate about all of it, and there is an overriding thread really that goes through all my work really, which I've talked about before, which is generally is about working in areas where there's very little help available, or where there's a lot of stigma around getting help, and that's the kind of thing that runs through most of my work. So I do a day job, and when the COVID lockdown came, I worked from home, which was a mixed blessing, because it was quite nice being home, having a bit more time with my wife, with Gwendoline, who some of you know from videos. You know, we both enjoyed that. It killed my back and shoulders because I wasn't able to. I was working from a laptop, and so that was tiring as well, and I had lots of problems. I had to see an osteopath a lot, and that's kind of gradually getting better, but it's still giving me a lot of problems. So I hit a kind of real kind of peak of fatigue. I wasn't able to get on with that much. There were a lot of things in the way of getting on with things while I was working from home. So I got back to work, back into the office, which was great. You know, I was much more productive when I'm there, and but still with a fatigue. And now the fatigue is lifted, but what I've got is like a massive amount of work at the moment. My workload's kind of, you know, just gone through the roof really, and it's not like unmanageable. It's just something that I need to get on top of, and I'm almost there now with that really. So that's kind of good, and I'm taking on more responsibility in the day job as well. So the reason I'm saying all this really is that's why I haven't been doing many videos, and I haven't always been able to respond to things. So people have asked me questions, and people have asked me to do videos, and I just want to really reassure you that I haven't forgotten. I've not overlooked that at all. I want to get back to that. There may be things that I've forgotten, so if you've asked me a question and you haven't had an answer, do please feel free to give me a gentle nudge. But this is kind of the reason. I also want to say, I've said this before as well, but I always like to kind of put this kind of caveat in, is that I don't talk about my day job. Not because I work for intelligence services or anything like that. I don't talk about it because out of respect to them really, because I make videos on all kinds of bizarre things, some of which Although, you know, I'm proud to stand by everything that I say and all the videos that I do, and all the words that come out of my mouth. I am representing myself and not representing anybody else or any other organisation, apart from the organisations that I founded or part of. So therefore, when I do speak about other organisations, I'm very careful and cautious, and I tend not to speak about my day job for that reason. Just because some of my more fringe interests may, by somebody that's very uncharitable, be seen as detrimental to the work that I do. I don't think they are, but I'm just kind of super cautious about that, really. So it's out of respect and discretion that I don't talk about my day job. I'm very proud of my day job. I work for a fantastic organisation, but I don't talk about it on here, or I don't talk about them on here. So that's the reason. So that's kind of where I am. So, and the other thing, I've taken on a few more things. So I'm now admin for one of the Retroactive Jealousy groups on Facebook. And embarrassingly, I can never remember the title. So I think it's Retroactive Jealousy Recovery. It's got positive in it, so I just call it the Positive Retroactive Jealousy Group. I'm terrible. I'm really bad. I don't know if it's a psychological thing, but I sometimes have a block on either the spelling or the full name or the pronunciation of something that I'm deeply involved with. It's kind of interesting. I always used to struggle with spelling psychotherapy, and when I worked in the alcohol field, I struggled with spelling the word alcohol. So that's kind of interesting. So I've been involved in that. So there's two. So one I'm the temporary moderator for. I've stepped in. I'm doing my best to keep up with that. Now, I find reading lots of things quite taxing, so that's been kind of quite hard work. The other group that I'm an admin for hasn't. There are two of us, so the load is shared. And mainly it's about kind of checking out membership applications. So the Retroactive Jealousy, I'll put the links in the box below, so or the proper names in the boxes below, so you know what I'm. So I don't want to do these groups that I'm a part of a disservice, because I'm again proud of them. But although that's not a majorly kind of onerous task, it's another responsibility. I have become a board member for another organisation. So I sit on two boards, or I sit on one board for an organisation, which I have talked about on here, and I'll be sitting on another board for another organisation. So that's about to happen. So the good news is hopefully my health is improving, my energy is improving. It feels like I've got my mojo back, which is really good. And I've also been able to improve my kind of desk area at work. So I've got a better chair now, which is fantastic. I've got my computer at the right height. I'm not working on a laptop anymore. So that's going well. So what I'm kind of saying, really, long story short, and that's not the whole thrust of this video, because I want to talk about something else as well. But that's kind of where I'm at, really. So I'm still deeply committed to all the things that I'm involved in. I'm still enthusiastic about all the things I'm involved in. I have not disappeared. I'm still there. My energy is coming back, and but I probably won't be doing as many videos, I think, for the foreseeable future, because of some of the other responsibilities. I won't be gone, but I'll probably my output on videos will probably be a little bit less. And I think it always comes and goes anyway, really. So that's that. I wanted to say that. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you I want to say a particular shout out to all the people that are regular supporters of the channel. I won't say the names here, because there's quite a lot. There's quite a few, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate the people that regularly give feedback. I appreciate particularly the people that give lots of detailed comments on the topics, and we end up having some quite some enjoyable conversations in the comments. So thank you all for that, and thank you to the people that have joined as Patreons. Or patrons of the Patreon channel, likewise. So I kind of tend to put most of these videos on YouTube, and So I'm usually kind of, if you like, speaking to YouTube people. And I do some exclusive videos for Patreon as well. So some videos are just go straight to the Patreon channel, but most go on YouTube, even if they only go on YouTube for a little while. So like the more intimate ones where it's me goofing around, I put those on YouTube for just a short while, and then they go onto Patreon for the people that the extra kind of benefit for the inner circle, if you like. So yeah, so the second thing I wanted to come on to, and you'll notice the thumbnail. Okay, I'll talk about the thumbnail there. So the thumbnail, it's kind of got two elements to it. It looks like it kind of might be a football emblem, but the central design in that thumbnail, which is actually my Facebook profile picture at the moment, is my family coat of arms. 3 scallop shells. Now, if you went to Reading University, you'll recognise that, because the 3 scallop shells are also part of the coat of arms for Reading University. And Reading University is in a place called Early, which is my surname. So it's Earley. So it's not early like early in the morning. I was Googling this the other day, and I got really cross because there was a little piece, I think about even in Wikipedia, that was talking about how the 3 scallops of the Reading University coat of arms were kind of borrowed from a family, and it listed another family. So that's not right. It's the Early coat of arms. Because Reading. So first of all, Reading University is in the village of Early, which is like a suburb of Reading. Spelt the same. The area is also known as White Knights, and my ancestor was Sir John Durley, who was known as the White Knight. Okay, so it's very definitely the coat of arms of, and there's different versions of it, but the scallop shells are sometimes seem to be in a different formation, but the 3 scallop shells on the 3 white scallops on the red background is the Early coat of arms. So I thought it'd be fun to put that on there. And the outer circle, Black Lives Matter. Okay, so I feel a little bit guilty that I haven't spoken about George Floyd and all the issues that's brought up. Okay. And again, I suppose what I tend to do, I always like to talk about the obscure and the things that aren't being talked about. So if everybody's talking about something, I tend not to talk about it. But I kind of think with this, we all need to talk about it in a way, because it's that whole thing that the only thing that it takes for evil to prevail in the world is for good men to do nothing, good men, good women to do nothing. And I think that's really true. So I just wanted to take an opportunity to add my voice to this, albeit that I think other people have already said many of the things that I would say far more eloquently and at greater length. But I just want to add really how horrified I was. And also, I think it did wake me up, actually, because it wasn't that I was unaware of some of these issues, but maybe I was a little bit in denial, I think, about how dangerous it is to be black in America, and a lot of other places as well. I think, I didn't want to see that, really. And it's just horrifying, really, because I've done lots of research into the atrocities that took place in the deep south of America. Because I was very interested in the Billie Holiday song "Strange Fruit," so I researched that and the lynchings and things, and I've looked into the history of that. And the lynchings, people tend to think this is something that goes way back. Well, it does go way back, but actually, the last lynching, I can't remember the date of it, but it wasn't that long ago. Lynching, and actually people used to make postcards of lynchings and send them to their friends. But I was a bit in denial, and I was thinking that all these things were much more in the past. And I knew that often American police are very inclined to there's lots of cases of American police shooting black people. I know it wasn't that I was unaware of that. But I guess, you know, the real truth and horror of that has really risen to the surface, which is good. You know, it's good that I've had that that bubble of mine bursted, burst. That bubble of mine burst. But you know, horrific. Really, the situation horrific that it had to be burst in such a horrible kind of graphic way. Really, I mean, I I can't imagine really how, if I had been a witness to that, or the feeling of rage. I mean, I do feel a degree of rage from my armchair, literally in my armchair. But if I'd have been more closely involved, I think the rage would have been unbearable. And I think, you know, it's brought up some really good issues. I think the issues of statues is a really interesting. I think the bad thing about this is it's gonna really divide people, particularly when it's statues of people like Churchill and things like that, which are, you know, hugely controversial, held dear to, you know, to so many people. So many people have this mixture, really, don't they, of, you know, the good and the bad. That's how human beings are. But I was aware of something in New Zealand. I can't remember the details, but I remember discussing it with colleagues about a statue of some guy that was actually, you know, there was a colonial, I think a colonial soldier and probably governor or maybe something like that. I don't know. This is just from a, you know, an office conversation, that actually was a war criminal and that the statue was still there. And I'm kind of thinking, well, you know, there is a part of me that kind of thinks, well, statues are part of history, so they shouldn't be taken away. But at the same time, I don't, you know, we certainly shouldn't be honouring, you know, people who've committed atrocities, you know. So my idea, which I don't think people have taken seriously, really, but I'm quite serious about this, is that what they should have done is actually built bars around the statue, built a kind of jail, and left the statue there, but put the person in jail. You know, I think that's far more effective than taking the statue away. If you take the statue away, then you're covering up the story in a way. You know, I would have, you know, extended the artwork, if you like, to put a cage, but like a cell around the statue, and a big plaque explaining the history and explaining what this person did. That I would have built on the statue. I think that's a really great thing to do. So I think I have enjoyed seeing statues thrown into, you know, thrown off, destroyed, or thrown into the river, as kind of happened in Bristol. I don't generally hold with vandalism. You know, I don't think rioting is ever good, because rioting is, you know, there are two things that are bad about the rioting. One is you're destroying the property of innocent people. You know, you're setting light to people's cars and houses, and people are going to get hurt and that kind of thing. And also, it plays into the hands of the opposition. You know, so peaceful protest is always far superior. I think there's so much has been going on here. I think, you know, there probably are people that have, I think that, you know, without, you know, being tinfoil hat, and you can see from my bald head that there is no tinfoil hat, people have been deliberately dividing people, and I think the thing about statues is going to divide people even more. So while I'm glad, you know, to see some of the issues, to see these statues toppled metaphorically, and to see this issue raised, and to bring all these things out into the open, and also have such sympathy with the rage, I think that people are deliberately stirring this, and deliberately, I think people have been deliberately divided for a long time now. You know, and that might sound tinfoil hat, but I think that's very real. You know, bots and all kinds of things going on. People don't talk to each other anymore. People have gone, I've talked about this in other videos, people have got very polarised. So I think that is really bad. So I don't want a race war. You know, I think we need to fight for transparency, and we need to restore democracy, and we need to redress the horrible imbalance that has gone on. And we all need to, I've opened my eyes. I think, you know, loads more people have still got their eyes closed to, you know, the level of prejudice and racism, and you know, it's almost like a kind of a slow genocide that's been happening in America and other places. You know, we need to open our eyes to this, but we need not to kind of you know, kill each other to do this, really. So I wanted to just add my thoughts to that, really. And the other thing, the Black Lives Matter thing, you know, I didn't quite understand that. I mean, I must admit, I was one of the people that said, well, all lives matter. I think it's really unhelpful to say Black Lives Matter. But that was coming from my denial, really, that yes, of course, I think everybody that says Black Lives Matter, you know, or nearly everybody, there's always an extreme fringe, but nearly everybody that uses the slogan Black Lives Matter obviously kind of recognises that all lives matter. But what we're doing is addressing an imbalance. So there has been and still is this culture in America that's saying that Black lives don't matter. So it's a statement against something specific. It's not a statement saying that it's not saying only Black lives matter. So, you know, I think that's the other thing. So I objected to Black Lives Matter in the past, not strongly and not publicly, but in my head I was thinking, I'm not sure that's such a good slogan. You know, is that going to divide people? But now I get it. I finally get it. You know, it's like it's black people saying, you know, we're being killed. You know, we're being treated worse than animals. We're disposable. We're expendable. We are at the mercy of police, and as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I'm not sure what the very latest is on the George Floyd thing, but you know, they were talking about third-degree murder at first. Now, I don't really understand, because I'm from the UK, so I don't really understand this first, second, third-degree murder thing. But I can't imagine really a worse murder. So if first-degree murder, sorry, my ignorance here, if third-degree murder is like kind of, you know, murder but not really that bad, and first-degree murder means, you know, the worst possible murder you can imagine, then it should be first-degree murder, and the three other cops, that should be first-degree murder as well. They're all culpable. They're all complicit in that. They're all murderers as far as I'm concerned, and justice needs to be done. Now, I know that it feels like, you know, things are moving in the right direction. So the first thing I heard was that they'd moved it, I think, from third to second-degree murder, but it should be. Unless I'm ignorant of, you know, if you're from America and you can explain the law to me, and enlighten me a little bit about what those three things mean, that would be really helpful. But you know, I think that was, you know, worst, you know, as bad as any murder, you know, I mean, you know, yes, I can see that there are different degrees of murder, you know, like, you know, the crime of passion, or, you know, where, you know, maybe somebody, some kind of ambiguous situation where somebody murders a burglar or whatever. But I think that's pretty, you know, that the murder of George Floyd was horrific, you know. So as far as I'm concerned, that should. I don't actually agree with the death penalty, but I think just for parity and fairness, he should have the maximum penalty. And if that happens to be the death penalty, then you know, if anybody's going to get the death penalty, then I think he should. But you know, if I could see the death penalty abolished, then I would see it abolished. That's what I don't understand. American culture is very strange for a Brit to kind of get his head around. I think Americans don't kind of realise this, how we don't get it. You know, we don't get your culture. How you know, Christianity seems to be espoused by the American right, who are, you know, avidly anti-abortion, but also support the death penalty. Because if you're pro-life and you believe, you know, like the Christian Ten Commandments, thou shalt not kill, or the Judeo-Christian Ten Commandments, then how is abortion not okay and the death penalty okay? But that's another one. We won't get into that one. Abortion and death penalty, they're big topics for another day. Okay, so yeah, I just didn't want to leave George Floyd unaddressed, and I just want to express how horrified I was. But you know, I'm also glad that my eyes are open, and I get it now. I get what Black Lives Matter means. So Thank you for following this channel. Thank you for watching this. If you want to hear more, so obviously I do videos on a range of topics, lots of stuff on retroactive jealousy, lots of stuff on psychology, some stuff on song meanings, some more fun stuff. If you want to get notified as to my videos, then subscribe and hit the little bell icon, and you get notified when my videos come out. And if you want to be a super duper supporter, then please join me on Patreon, because that's a big help. And I may not be doing quite as many videos over the next few months, but I will still be around. And most of all, thank you to all of you. Thank you, Markie.